Namaste. My very dear friend and Chairman of the Board of Governors of the MDI, Shri Kumarji, the Acting Director of MDI Gurgaon, Dr. Sangeeta Shah Bhardwaj, the Director of MDI Murshidabad, Dr. Atmanand, all the distinguished faculty members, the deans of various colleges within the institute, teachers, professors, parents of graduating students of the class of 23, and all my young friends, brothers and sisters who are proudly going to join the Alumni Association of MDI Gurgaon today. Congratulations to all of you graduating from MDI. A special congratulations to all the medal winners who have been recognized for their tremendous performance in this very prestigious institution. It's even more exciting to receive this recognition in the 50th year of the MDI. My heart goes out to all of you and to all the parents, proud parents, for the wonderful achievement. Congratulations, and wish you all graduating students all the very best in your career as you go into the real world, start meeting the challenges of a world full of challenges, difficulties, uncertainties, which one could call the VUCA world. And I'll come to that in a moment. We have just celebrated Baisakhi. Of course, different parts of India celebrate this year the start of the harvesting season as Vishu, as Pola Boisak, different names, but the same sentiment. And that is what is reflected in our wonderful country's diversity. Diversity of thought, diversity of language, diversity of culture, food habits, traditions. And before me, I can see that diversity amongst the students of MDI, both at Gurgaon and Murshidabad. Students coming from all walks of life. In fact, I was told the very pleasant news that in the current batch, which has just got admitted in MDI, they have over 65% girls who have joined the MDI. Congratulations to all of you. That's a remarkable achievement for the organization in terms of giving an opportunity to our daughters as they work their way up and become stakeholders in the growth story of India, as they contribute to a better India, to a better future for our country. Friends, I have before me the future leaders of India, entrepreneurs, innovators, change makers, young boys and girls who are going to contribute in the Amrit Kal, the next 25 years, as the country moves from Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to the centenary of India's independence. You will recall the Honorable Prime Minister had spoken about Panch Pran, the 5 commitments or principles or values that we will all inculcate as we start working, preparing the nation in becoming a developed nation, a prosperous nation by 2047. Of course, the 5 prongs are well known to all of us. Our deep commitment to become a developed nation, our collective duty to achieve that goal, our effort to protect the unity and integrity of India. But there are 2 other goals, 2 other commitments, which I would like to draw your attention within these 5, the second and third, to which the Prime Minister alluded. One was to remove the colonial mindset from our work, from our mind, from our behavior. We have to shed every little vestige of the colonial era, because unless we do that, we will not be able to come out of the old mindset. We will not be able to engage with modernity, with a new world. And I'm very, very happy when I was very happy when I heard from the Dean and the Director of the 2 institutes and the Chairman of the Board of Governors that MDI plans to change this costume also from the graduating class of 2024. Not that I have anything against this. It's just that we have to get back to the third principle. Let's go back to our roots. Let's accept something which comes from our own tradition. You must have seen I was struggling to put the medal on top of this hat. And therefore I really was very happy when I came to know that from next year you will be changing your graduating class costume. I am happy to offer the services of the National Institute of Fashion Technology, NIF, pro bono, to help you design a good. वैसे भी इतनी गर्मी में मुझे लगता है आप सब भी खुश होंगे अगर आपको ये इतना लंबा चौड़ा मोटा गाउन ना पहनना पड़े, ठीक है कि नहीं? The Prime Minister had spoken on one occasion about the power of India's youth. And I'd like to quote from what the Prime Minister had said. The whole world is looking at India's youth with hope. As you are the growth engines of the country, and India is the world's growth engine. That is the duty on each one of us, young boys and girls, sitting in this hall today. Our duty to take this country forward at speed, at scale, skillfully, because the world today is looking up to India to be that growth engine, to provide that impetus for a better world for 7 billion people around the world. You might have noticed the G20, of which India has the privilege of being the president this year, has adopted the theme Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. And we in India look upon all people of the world as our family. One earth, one family, one future. And therefore, whenever there is any distress anywhere in the world, India is at the forefront of the collective effort to help find solutions. So much so that recently when there were a series of earthquakes in Turkey, not a country that's very, very friendly or pro-India in the best of times. India was the only and probably the first and probably only country which immediately deployed our disaster rescue and rehabilitation teams, the NDRF, to immediately fly down to Turkey and help in the rescue operations, relief operations in Turkey. Whether it is providing vaccines to countries which are less privileged than India, smaller Pacific countries, Caribbean nations, less developed nations, emerging economies, through our vaccine Maitri, or it is supporting our neighbors such as Sri Lanka in their times of distress. India always stands up and can be counted upon. And if I may draw a word from what Mr. Rajneesh was saying, can be trusted upon to be a friend in need, to be at the forefront of any support that any part of the world requires. In fact, during the COVID period, we were often called the pharmacy of the world because we provided medicines all across the world at very affordable, at very competitive, at very, very low rates, very often free of cost to those countries which needed them the most. I remember when we put some restrictions on export of medicines, there was a lot of concern from different quarters that India is going to stock up and hold all the medicines that we have and will not help any other country who may need those medicines. While of course it is incumbent on any government, and we were conscious of our responsibilities to our 140 crore people and ensured adequate availability of all essentials for the people of India, the purpose of the restriction was not to stop exports, was not to deprive the rest of the world of those medicines, but the purpose of that restriction was to ensure equitable distribution across the world so that all people who need it, but again, particularly the less developed countries, the developing countries, the small island nations, Pacific nations, Caribbean nations, Latin American or African nations, which otherwise would have found it unaffordable to use these medicines. We wanted to make sure that unscrupulous business persons or traders do not corner all the medicines available in India. Rich nations do not buy off all the medicines available in India, but wanted to make sure that everybody gets their fair share as per their need. As it is said, the world has enough for everybody's need, not enough for everybody's greed. And that ethos is what prompted us to ensure that we provide medicines to whoever needed it, those who could not afford it free of cost, and for others at very affordable costs. I am reminded of an instance which I will share with you only to reflect the thinking of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the thinking of 140 crore Indians. Germany, which is a highly developed nation, which has all the wealth in the world, the per capita income is very high, needed certain medicines. Her Excellency Chancellor Angela Merkel sent a message to Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and I was tasked to talk to her colleagues to discuss their medical requirements. I still remember her advisor, Henrik, calling me up in one on one evening during the peak of COVID. And while mentioning what medicines and supplies he required, and I'd like all the young boys and girls to hear this carefully, because I believe this is the ethos of India that I wish each one of you carries forward in your life. The advisor to the Chancellor, after giving me the list of medicines required, immediately offered us, as a nation, offered India 35 million euros as a grant in aid to help us in our COVID effort. And he also, in the course of conversation, said, we'd also like to offer 200 million euros additionally as long-term development assistance, which you can pay us after many, many years, either it was interest-free or at a very nominal cost, to help us ramp up our medical facilities. Friends, it's a lot of money. There's almost 400 crores of donation to India and about 2,250 crores as almost free development assistance. But Prime Minister Modi's direction to all of us was absolutely clear from the day one that we will meet all the requirements of whoever requires it, but we will not trade, सौदा नहीं करेंगे किसी के साथ, just because a nation has money. Just because a nation can afford to maybe tempt us with money, they do not have a larger right on the scarce resources available with us, because we wanted to make sure everybody, particularly the poorer nations, are not deprived. While thanking my friend Lars Henrik, who became subsequently a good friend, he was also the Sherpa of G20 of Germany, and therefore I had an occasion to interact with him very extensively about a year after that. He was taken aback when I said to him that I'm sorry, you can discuss all these matters independently with the Ministry of Finance, because they have the mandate to see what development assistance India will accept or not accept, but do not link up the two. Whatever medicines you require, India will provide it at the same price as it is available in India or provided to any other part of the world. And he was taken aback. It was very unexpected for him. But that is where India's tradition, our culture, our history is different from the rest of the world. And that is the proud legacy that I wish each one of our young boys and girls graduating today will carry with him in the course of his work: empathy, sensitivity, concern, care, a feeling for those who are left behind, who could not get the high quality education that each one of you was privileged to get in the precincts of this wonderful institute. There are millions more who have not got the opportunity, maybe for a variety of reasons as yet, but who deserve better. And it is our collective duty, all of us collectively have to work with that sense of dedication, commitment, and duty to ensure the collective prosperity, inclusive growth, so that no one is left behind. We care for 140 crore Indians. We give them a better future. particularly in this world, the VUCA world, as I mentioned earlier, the world of volatility, the world of uncertainty, the world full of complexity with various ambiguities. In this VUCA world, where the rate of change exceeds the pace at which we can accept and confront with change, where the present is very unclear, uncertain about what will happen, each one of us will be confronted with multiple decision factors, the complexities of our work, and in our life, we'll face a lot of ambiguities. There will not be a clarity on everything we are planning to do. Events and the meaning of different events will be very ambiguous. During these times, the solution also will come from within. There is a VUCA solution, a solution where vision, where understanding, where clarity and agility in our work will help us navigate the challenges of tomorrow. We all have to work to a vision. The country today is working towards a vision of making India a developed nation by 2047, when we celebrate our centenary of independence. Each one of us, our companies, our corporates, our educational institutions, would be working to a vision. We'll all have a mission for accomplishing that vision. But it calls for deep understanding of the day-to-day problems, of real-life challenges, situations, and that is where education from MDI would have honed your skills to understand these complex situations, to bring clarity to your mind about how you are going to address these challenges. And looking at the bright young faces before me, I'm sure you will display exemplary agility. You will be willing to accept changes. You will be willing to accept challenges. You will be adapting to change. You will be adapting to circumstances so that none of these challenges is ever unsurmountable. Of course, many of us, if not all, must have watched Three Idiots. Am I right in assuming that? Have you all watched Three Idiots? If anybody hasn't, I would strongly recommend it. And I'm not getting paid for recommending a movie, please. I remember that scene. I think it was in the institute's toilet, that Amir Khan makes those prophetic words. And if I may quote with your permission, किसी महापुरुष ने कहा है, और महापुरुष तो वो खुद था, पर बात बड़े फतेह की थी. किसी महापुरुष ने कहा है कि कामयाब होने के लिए काबिलियत होना आवश्यक नहीं है. My apologies, let me remember it again. किसी महापुरुष ने कहा है कि कामयाब होने के लिए हम पढ़ाई नहीं करेंगे, काबिल होने के लिए पढ़ेंगे. कामयाबी तो अपने आप आएगी, काबिल होने के लिए पढ़ेंगे. Success will follow on its own. What we are going to work for is excellence. And I think MDI reflects that sentiment, that you do not rush after success. You prepare yourself for excellence. And therefore, there are 5 mantras that can help each one of us in achieving our mission, in achieving our goals. We need a clear vision and purpose in our life, a passion for excellence, a sense of responsibility for whatever actions we take, a spirit of collaboration and cooperation, also the spirit of competition. स्पर्धा होनी चाहिए. Without competition, the encouragement to do better doesn't come up. After all, it is with that encouragement that the gold medal holders were selected today. And finally, a sense of gratitude and humility. I think we have a great opportunity for all of us coming out of this wonderful institute, the MDI, to prepare ourselves to meet the challenges of the world, to become value creators in the India of tomorrow. Many of you, I hope, will be looking at entrepreneurship, will become startups, will come out with innovative ideas, solutions for the problems of the world, will come up with new ideas to make businesses more successful, for ease of doing business, for ease of living. In fact, today, the government also has started thinking like a startup. The Prime Minister is continuously experimenting and innovating with new ideas to take welfare and prosperity to the last mile, to the people in the remotest corners of the country, to the marginalized sections of society at the bottom of the pyramid. Your ideas, your spirit of accepting challenges, uncertainties, your desire to contribute to a better India will truly help us achieve the goals of the new India that you are all going to be a part of in this Amrit Kal. MDI itself is focused on ensuring high quality education, affordability, and is also looking at flexibility in their programs in alignment with the National Education Policy 2020. EdTech, machine learning, e-learning, giving back to society in terms of scholarships for the underprivileged so that they have a right to high quality education. The 90 business schools with which MDI has collaborations helps us get an international flavor in our education. And I think the alumni network of 10,000 students that MDI has, and I was just reading in your book that you have now registered a society of the alumni boys and girls. That is good news. I do hope that this Alumni Connect will help you to give our students greater opportunity to get real life experiences. In fact, the alumni could even give offline or online lectures. Wherever they are in the world, they could possibly give a talk occasionally to your students, giving their experiences, maybe offering case studies from their learnings to help your students get better education, better experience. And these alumni could become mentors to entrepreneurs and startups coming out of MDI. The research activities that you are carrying out, or the development of case studies, case papers, newer ideas of management will also help us, whether in government or in the private sector. And I would urge MDI to engage with the private sector as much with the government so that all of us can be benefited from the high quality of students and faculty that you boast, the high quality of work that is being carried out in your institution, your work around environment, your work around sustainability, your work on ESG. All of these will be welcome inputs for us as we make policies for the future. I'm sure some of your students will also come up with low cost but modern solutions for our farmers, for our artisans, for our weavers, our handicraft and handloom persons in remote parts of the world, remote parts of the country, and will contribute to nation building so that wherever we go in the country, there will be an MDI graduate, there will be an MDI alumni who will hold this institute and its prestige high, who will show to the world the values that he has inculcated, the values that he has absorbed as a student of MDI. In fact, we have recently invited applications for our National Startup Awards 2023. I hope some of the MDI alumni also, who may be startups, or some of your students who are joining startups, would also be eligible and participate in this competition. Friends, we are all embarking on a new journey today, a journey where we will be a part of India's Amrit Kal. We will all be working to make India a developed nation, a prosperous nation. I urge each one of you to look upon this 2-year period you have spent at MDI as a foundation, as a building block to help you become better citizens of this country and help you in your efforts, your contribution to make India a great superpower. Congratulations to all the proud parents for the wonderful achievements of your children. I'm sure they will do you proud. They will do your families proud. And each one of us, as proud parents of our children, will also encourage and help them in whatever vocation, whatever choices our children make in life. Please continue to encourage them. Please continue to encourage them to be bold, to be audacious, to make a tryst with their destiny, with new ideas. Encourage them to experiment in their life, because this is one period of life where you are fresh with ideas, you are willing to take challenges and failure, and I believe there is nothing wrong if somebody was to fail, because failure will only be a stepping stone to success. So let us encourage this young lot today to experiment with the future, and let us all continue to be a part of their journey towards a prosperous future and their journey to become eminent, good citizens of this country. All the best to you, my young friends. Thank you.